Hello and welcome to round 3 of the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup. We're here at the Sepang International Circuit in Malaysia.
They have 2 races per weekend, so that's 50 points on the table every time they go out. So it can change pretty quickly, although, yeah, it's a good advantage that he's definitely got there.
We just saw a brief glimpse of Bill van Erden, the Australian rider, the first ever Australian to win in the Asia Talent Cup. That was, of course, back at race, heading their way down towards that first corner. So, of course, the riders will be on their own on the grid. Then they'll set off on their sighting, or their formation lap, if you will, warming up the tyres, warming up the brakes, and, of course, then getting ready to get the race underway. 13 laps here at the Sepang International Circuit. Of course, all these riders now on wet tyres. It was declared a wet race before. Wait for those red lights to come on at the top of your screen, and let's get ready then to go racing for race number 1. Great start from the pole position man, but a good start also from Haruki Noguchi alongside and on the outside of the front row. Bill van Erden down towards that first turn. They all filter behind one another as everybody got away pretty equally, but going down towards turn 1, it is Shirel that leads the way, but here comes the number 9 of Noguchi up the inside. He gets the lead away, but he slides down the road. Disaster for Haruki Noguchi, the championship leader. Wow, big drama here for the Japanese rider. So he led the race all for a couple of metres or so, ended up sliding down the road, has fortunately been able to get that bike back up and running, but that is big drama in the opening stages.
Definitely, like we said earlier, it can change very, very quickly in this championship, and that's going to be a serious dent in his points lead if one of those key rivals for the crown can take advantage of that. I'm sure he'll be hitting himself over that and trying to get back in and get as much experience of the track as he can. Oh, it looks like maybe it's not going to be. Well, that's a shame for Noguchi.
Well, we were saying that he might get the bike bump started because, of course, there is a bit of a descent there, which can be quite useful for getting these bikes bump started. However, Noguchi looks like he could even be out of contention for this one with just one corner done for him, unfortunately. Now back out in the lead of the race, it is Shirel that leads the way then from Bill van Erden. So van Erden really with a dream scenario for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Van Erden now knows that he can make a big gain. Even if he doesn't go on to win this race, he's got a chance to really gain some serious ground in the championship with Noguchi out. So he'll definitely be looking to do that. Also, they have ground to make up. Aji obviously not quite as consistent as Van Erden so far, so a bit of a bigger gap for him to try and hunt down.
Just saw inside the top 10, Menandar and Luck of this race. You can just see them there, the number 13 with the green helmet in the background of your shot. He was the rider who was battling. Now out, though, in the lead of the race. I think it's Van Erden that is leading the way, the number 19. No, might not be. Might be Shirel still, who has the advantage. In fact, no, I apologise. It's Mario Aji. All these riders, of course, running very similar liveries and very similar helmet designs as well. Does make it a little bit tricky to distinguish until we see the front of the motorbikes. But it is Aji then, the Indonesian rider, who we were talking about him starting from the head of that second row of the grid, Fran, leading the way then at the end of lap 1.
But then here there should be chance for them to hunt that gap down, obviously, in the slipstream, and Van Erden looks like he's definitely managed to do that. Obviously Van Erden as well, a little bit smaller, which is a little bit of an advantage in terms of straight line speed, but you can see they're all going fairly carefully through there. Obviously, because Noguchi crashed out of that lead, they've all seen that happen, and so they'll probably be definitely unwilling to take too many risks around turn 1 at the moment.
Well, also to displace and keep that rubber cool.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, it's definitely an added element to the challenge. I think the main thing they'll be hoping now that they are out on wets, I think we're going to get a replay of the start. Yeah. So if you see Noguchi, not a bad start there from second on the grid and tucked in behind Shirel. Obviously just feeling pretty confident and thinks he's definitely going to head for that whole shot and try and lead the race, but just doesn't quite go as it was supposed to there.
Yeah, you can see the bike squirreling around under the brakes there, and it's really one of the most sort of casual low sides you've ever seen, really.
Yeah, it's a
Noguchi.
real shame for him. It's obviously just a little bit slippy there, almost no drama except for the sliding off. And it's a shame he's not been able to get back in.
Oh, in another crash. They had a separate crash, then getting back on the bikes. They got the gas up and running, and because we saw him get the bike going, and then...
Indeed, so that solves the mystery of how he's definitely not been able to rejoin. Then shame for him. Obviously, rider up and okay.
And another rider that's not okay is Kopchai Sai Lil. So the Thai rider has gone down coming out of turn 9. Fortunately, he's getting ready to go up on his feet and seems to be relatively unscathed following that one, but still, that's a big, and was actually fighting inside that top 5 at the point where he crashed as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a really, really impressive performance in qualifying for Kopchai, and it's a big shame. He'll be hoping for Aji still in the lead, but not able to break away too far. Again, they probably will close in at the end of this straight and then at the into turn 1 as well. Oh,
big moment. That was a big moment there for Menandar, who's really made some good ground, actually, up into 3rd place. He was lining up in 10th position on the grid, but you can see just how squirrely he was getting under braking there. This is, though, what happened to Sai Lil, the Thai rider, then going through the left-hander of turn 9. I think we're just going to clip the back end of this one where he high-sides out, and you can just see, yep, indeed. So he's obviously had some kind of a problem, just probably trying to load the rear a bit too much coming out of turn number 9 there, and going over the bike in a high-siding fashion, and unfortunately crashing out of contention.
Yeah, you could see a little bit of spray still coming off the rear tyre of one of the bikes just ahead of him there, so it's obviously not quite as dry as maybe it looks actually when it's mixed and a bit difficult. And we have a change for the lead at the front, so Van Erde are able to take over there.
That's really good stuff for Bill Van Erde. Then let's see if we can piece together how that move was made, and it was going down in towards turn 1. He pulled out of the slipstream, used the inside line, clearly some quite good grip there. Now he's got a bit of heat into the tyres, but still was getting very aggressive there for Bill Van Erde going into that first corner, not leaving any quarter to Mario Aji through there. But regardless, Bill Van Erde, despite the aggressiveness of the move, does lead the way then with a few laps completed of this race. However, Aji, he's still looking very strong, and that second sector in particular through turn...
You see throughout the latter half of the lap until that final, ooh, a little bit squiggly there.
But he makes his way up the inside, and he does lead the way.
And another moment there on the exit. You need to be just careful there and relax, deep breath, and calm it down, I think, a little bit. Obviously, we've still got 11 laps to go. There's no need to be taking too many risks at this point. As long as you're with those guys that are in that podium battle, you know, you need to wait and strike at the end. But yeah, it happens, especially towards the end, until they seem to be able to close in on that back straight and round the final corner into turn 1 as well.
Menandar in 3rd place, but he's going to go up the inside of Van Erde into 2nd position, then down through the right-hander, the penultimate corner on this lap, and he does indeed move up into 2nd place. So the top 3 now really having quite a pronounced gap over the man in 3rd position. That's the number 21, of course, of Daniel Sherrill. So the rider who started on pole position, the Malaysian here, on home soil, not being able to contend for the race victory. But again, that number 4 of Menandar still looking squirrely under brakes going into that final.
In that front trio, but it's not seeming to cost them too much. They're obviously pushing within the limits at the moment. But yeah, it's obviously... You know, you want to maybe have that lead. You want to make sure they can extend that gap to Sherrill in 4th, but also there's a lot at stake, and no need yet to be pushing too hard and really taking too many risks. So we'll have to see. To the rider behind him in 5th, which is Hendrian Cherno.
It is indeed, yeah. We just saw the number 4 of Menandar setting the fastest lap last time around, the 2 minute. Oh, big moment though going through turns 8. I was just about to compliment his riding style, and he drops down into 3rd position. So that does then leave Van Erde and Menandar to lead the way. But he actually did a very good job there, did the Indonesian, to save that, because that could have been
collected right on the edge there again. Obviously, you know, they need to be pushing. They're in the lead group and fighting for that podium and fighting for the win already, even with 10 laps to go. But they really need to be careful pushing too far past the limit at the moment, because it is still pretty slippy out there, like we can see. But he's caught straight back onto the back of these two. So hopefully now just a little bit calmer, take a deep breath, and I think we'll see a replay now, maybe.
This is the move for, this is Aji going up the inside then of the number 19 of Bill Van Erde for the race. And you can see Aji there, all sorts of shapes that bike is making underneath him on the brakes. And this is the moment he has coming out of the corner as well. This was actually a couple of laps ago, but he was looking very, very ragged in the mid stages of that one, trying to find his way past. He did manage to get that way past. However, now we can see it's the roles have been reversed following another moment. So just a couple of little moments there for Aji has kind of put him not on the back foot, we should say, because he is still trying to go up the inside of Menandar here, down in towards the final corner of turn number 15, and he does find his way through, but he is still looking pretty aggressive compared to the others around him, who are just that little bit calmer at the moment.
Yeah, definitely, and just from the apex. And now it's obviously, like I said, it's been resurfaced a couple of years ago, and some of the cambers have changed, and that's one of them that really has. But Aji super confident despite those few wobbles and moments. So yeah, back in that lead trio again, and although now yet at the back of it, or now moving just through into 2nd, has he? It's you know,
He has been over the last couple of laps or so. So the pole setter here, Daniel Shirel, could be in contention to try and fight for this race lead before too long. 9 laps remaining, so still plenty of time. So the Asia Talent Cup, of course, the Intermediate Asia Talent Cup, applications open for 2019 now, Fran, as well. So if anybody's watching this, perhaps in the Asia or the Oceania region, and fancies getting themselves involved in the championship for next season, they can do so.
Yep, you can indeed. You can apply if you think you're the next Noguchi or Van Erder or maybe Super Mario Adji. Yeah, and then there's obviously you apply. We see go through the applications and then decide who's on www.asiatalentcup.com, and you can see all the details there. But yeah, until about mid-August, their applications are open for next season.
Yep, absolutely.
And it's riders in Asia. That's from Turkey all the way across to Hong Kong or anywhere in the east, and then all the way down, obviously including Australia and New Zealand. So yeah, definitely check it out and see if
will be taking place on the 30th and 31st of October right here at the Sepang International Circuit. Down in towards turn 15 we go, side by side between Menandar and Adji. Adji up the inside again, quite a few bobbles on that bike, and he is looking very, very loose. He's had a few warnings. Hopefully he doesn't do anything to overstep the mark, but Super Mario still looking on super form here regardless. Down the start-finish straight we go, and you can see how quick these guys are riding with one another as well. Fastest lap times coming in consecutively from Van Erder, from Adji. Anything you can do, I can do better, seems to be the message that they're giving here. Yeah,
definitely. Obviously, Adji then eventually got that fastest lap. But you can see, although he seems to be a little bit, oh, in a big moment, and I think that's Menandar, is it, out of that fight at the front?
It is Menandar, then the Indonesian, high-sided way out of turn 1, so that is a shame for him. Unfortunately, he was going very, very well and had made some good ground up from where he qualified. 10th position he qualified on the grid, so he was fighting in contention for that race victory, but sadly it's not going to be a fight for the race win with 8 laps now to go for Menandar. Back at the front though, it is still a fight for the race lead between Van Erder and for Adji, and this is very, very good to see for them as well. And Van Erder doing a great job of leading the way, but Adji still looking very, very aggressive from behind as well. And Shirel, he was closer over the last couple of laps or so, has just dropped back a little bit, probably got caught up in that incident with Menandar as well.
Yeah, probably just caused them to have to shut the way you react to it. So you can see again, Adji just a little bit squirrely. Is that the word? I think it's a good word.
I think it's a good word. I think we'll go with squirrely. I think that one works. This is what happened then to Menandar going through in towards turn 2. So he's just coming out of turn number 1 here, and you can see him just getting on the gas there. The rear slides his way, then it grips quite violently and high sides him over the bike, and that is a big, big shame there. The main thing is that he's up and okay. Yeah,
up and okay. Obviously, I'm not sure if he'll be able to get back in the race. Not sure how much damage there was to that bike, but big shame for him, having a really, really great ride and right in that podium fight. But you know, sometimes these things happen. End result.
Well, we just saw a brief look at the championship standings a few minutes ago, and we saw that, of course, if Bill Van Erder does win this race, then he will be tied on points in the title race between himself and the rider who crashed out, of course, and championship leader Haruki Noguchi. So that is going to make things very, very interesting at the top of the order if it does indeed finish like that. Of course, Mario Adji, now in second position, will be doing everything that he can to try and change that out in front, but he is going to have a very hard task because Van Erder, the Australian, of course, the first ever Australian to win here in the Asia Talent Cup, is doing everything he can to try and change that order.
Yeah, definitely. I think for Van Erder, he's going to have a decision to make come the end of the race, which is whether he wants to take all of the risks, because they're a little bit further behind in points. But Adji has got some serious pace, and he's shown that already this season. So that could be another one as well to consider, because obviously Van Erder will know that over the course of the season, once all of it's played out, Adji should be a serious threat for the crown as well with the pace that he's shown. So maybe it is worth taking that risk and dueling him to the line. We'll have to see.
Absolutely right. Well, we just can see as well that Lucky Hendrian Shah in 4th position at the moment. Unlucky for some with the number 13 that he rides, but certainly not for Lucky at the moment, because he is doing an absolutely brilliant job up race, really, more than anything. But he is there in 4th place. He's not too far away from contention, so let's keep an eye out and see how he is going to fare as this race does continue onwards. Still leading the way, though, is the number 7 of Mario Adji, and he is just trying to find a bit of a gap between himself and the number 19, but no way through at the moment for the number 19, of course. So Bill van Erden still there in second.
It seems to be that these guys do have a bit of better pace than him, and they can pull away, like you said, through that middle part of the lap. I think for him, home podium, that's a pretty incredible result. So I think maybe don't push too hard, just keep it on the road, keep it nice and calm. Obviously, we've seen to a couple of guys already what the price is for pushing just over that limit on these in these difficult conditions. So I don't know. For me, if I was Cheryl, I would maybe keep it a little bit calmer and let them duel it out for the win and take my home podium.
Absolutely. Well, we'll see what happens as the race does continue onwards. Just saw a shot there of Sho Nishimura just going through that final corner. The race lead, though, once again changing as Van Erden now hits the front against Mario Aggi. So quite clearly a good exit there from Van Erden out of that final corner. Allowed him to get past Aggi going down in towards turn one. It is an incredibly long straight here, start-finish straight, and of course the back straight as well to that extent. So that
time they come around that corner, will that mean they can outdrag them to the line? Will it not? Maybe do a few test runs of it. We'll have to see if they do, or maybe they're just going to have a crazy duel and not think too much about that. We'll have to see.
Well, this is exactly what you said there, Fran. It's going to be one of those sort of experimental stages more than anything in this race, as the riders just try to find the best lines going through those final turns, just in case they have to think about a last lap lunge. And then they're going to go in towards turn 7 and 8, those double apex right-handers. A mixture of lines going on between these riders here as well. And at the moment, from what I can see on the screen, it's the number 18 of Troy Alberto who is leading this one by the looks of things. So that's from 10th position downwards, all the way down then into 14th place at the moment. But these guys doing an absolutely brilliant job in this race. You can see there Troy Alberto. He is indeed in the front of this little scrap. Just behind him is the number 17. That, of course, is Saiwa Sang, the Thai rider. So getting very, very interesting indeed. And you can see there as well, just behind him, that's the number 14. And the number 14 just trying to find his way past. That's Naoki Yamada. Meanwhile, speaking of finding a way past as well, Mario Aggi finding his way past Bill van Erden into that race lead at the final turn.
So yeah, obviously ahead still, and Van Erden can't catch him back by the time they get to that line, which could be crucial on the final lap. But yeah, that battle for 10th is a good one there. There's 4 of them in that, fairly high octane. But I have to see who takes that in the end. 4 around that final corner could be very interesting come the final lap of the race. But at the moment, this duel at the front seems to be fairly calm. They're just sort of testing each other out. Nothing too crazy or taking too many risks. But
well, that'll be something for him to smile about if he does indeed finish in that position. 5 laps to go. He hasn't really got any close competition from behind, has the Malaysian rider. So just needs to keep it a bit steady Eddie at the moment, trying to find a way to respond. And the second and third sectors in particular are where the young Australian does seem to have a bit more of a pace advantage. 15 years old is Bill van Erden from Douglas in Australia. As we said, second place in the championship going into this round. 70 points he was on. If he finishes in second place, he'll cut that deficit, I should say, down to 5 points. If he finishes and wins the race, then he'll cut that lead down to 0 points. So going into race 2 tomorrow, the top 2 will indeed be tied on points. That is
a revision of nil points. But exactly. Obviously, Noguchi would technically still be the championship leader due to the victories that he's taken. But yeah, it's a fairly exciting thing. Serious ground up. So it's quite exciting, I think. After initially it looked like Noguchi maybe could run away with it a little bit, but they really, really have settled into this competition and these bikes, and they've really taken that competition to him. And I think they'll take a lot of heart seeing as well that he's not infallible. He can make a mistake. Your mental attitude to it, I think. Just
saw that battle for 10th place as well, getting pretty heated at the front of it, because Troy Alberto has been duffed up by Nittipong Sewasung. So the Thai rider then is up into 10th position. Up into the lead of the race, though, goes Van Erden. Again, that bike moving underneath him, but Van Erden seeming to have relative control of that motorcycle at the moment in these latter stages of the race. So just over 3 and a bit laps to go then as they come out in the slipstream. Not quite close enough on this occasion to make a manoeuvre into that corner, but regardless, he's going to know that he's got a bit of an advantage over Van Erden there. And indeed, Van Erden looking over his shoulder, you can see there in the first sector, so maybe he's just aware that he's perhaps not got the same sort of pace as Aggi does. Yeah, Aggi absolutely nailed that round there, and I think if this had been the last lap, there definitely would have been an attempt
Yeah, it's quite interesting. These guys, obviously, they're stronger at different points on the track, so the gap's like concertinaing up and then out a little bit further. But by the end of it, and that final corner, they seem a lot closer. So I think it's going to be quite, it's interesting to see when they do attack and when they don't, whether Aji is happy to let Van Erde lead or not. But at the moment, it seems to just be
inside the top 5 now. So that is a very good race. We just look at Boissy there. He's inside 5th position, you can see. And just behind him is Nishimura and Powie. So those 3 riders a little bit spread out on the field there. But regardless, a great race for Boissy. And he's doing a really, really good job to have made such ground and looking pretty commanding there inside the top 5. That will definitely be something for him to smile about. Very interesting, not only at the top of the championship, but also in the mid-table as well. Of course, a lot of these guys are very good friends on and off the circuit. So it does make it a little bit interesting, those inter-friend rivalries that they have with one another in the championship.
Yeah, definitely. I think as well, like you said, this is the last race before the summer break. And for Boissy, this would be, it's the last race weekend, sorry. For Boissy, if he keeps that 5th, it will be his best result of the season so far. So if he can build on that tomorrow as well, that's really, really good for him to be heading into the break with that kind of result bank, to know that he's made that progress. And obviously then when activity does resume later in the season, it will be at Buriram on home turf for him. So there's quite a lot at stake in terms of the mental game you take into the summer break and how you finished off. These guys, they do obviously race alongside other events such as World Superbike already. They have at Buriram this year and MotoGP in Qatar. But they've also, this weekend, alongside Malaysian Superbike Championship. So they're their own kind of little band of Asia Talent Cup turning up to race. So it's quite nice as well, and they are always incredibly respectful, great sense of competition, and really good attitudes these guys have got to winning and losing, and always shaking hands. And
very fair. Back at the front, though, it is now Van Erde who's got the advantage back over Mario Aji then. So will Van Erde be able to try and pull the pin in the latter stages, or will we see Aji and himself going side by side on that final lap of the race? And this is where it's going to get very, very interesting indeed. So just over 2 and a bit laps to go then. They come through that right-hander. Meanwhile, back in this battle for 10th position, still getting very interesting indeed. At the moment, I think it is still Alberto who is up into 10th place. Indeed, it is in the number 18. Just behind him is that number 17. That, of course, is Sayeng Wasang. So we were just looking at him earlier on, and he was in front for a brief moment, but is doing a good job there in 11th place at the moment, keeping himself quite cleverly latched onto the back of Alberto.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like I said earlier, it could be a little bit interesting with these 4 going down to the final corner and that kind of reverse camber, and see how they all deal with that. But it's been a pretty close battle, and it's good for these guys as well to have that experience of really racing a little bit closer. And in these conditions, that's a real challenge. So it's impressive stuff and some good progress for these guys. I think they'd be fairly happy with that, and there's some good points.
Going to be focusing on the battle that's happening here for the race lead between Van Erde and for Mario Aji, but the battles further down the order, they're incredibly beneficial for these young riders because, of course, they're honing their racecraft at this stage in their career.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is the key thing with a lot of the Road to MotoGP programs. It's not about turning up immediately. You have to be the fastest guy in your first season. You don't have to be on pole every race or anything like that. What you have to do is have enough talent to be able to continue getting more and more out of it and to really show that progress. So that's as big a prize as any, really, in some ways. It's be pretty rare for someone to continually keep improving that and pushing the boundaries a bit further. So for those guys, like you say, it's really, really valuable, and in these difficult conditions as well, or as they certainly were at the start of the race, it's really valuable experience to be able to race those guys pretty close, and at a track like this, it's really is a challenge. So it's great for them.
Absolutely. We're just looking at Shirel a few moments ago, and his best finish in the championship so far to date was 4th position at the last round. However, he's on for a podium, so his first step on the rostrum so far this year. Both Van Erde and Aji have been fighting for race victories throughout the entirety of the season. Who would certainly be hoping to be fighting for the race win. However, it's not to be for them on this occasion. They've got to sit behind the television screens and watch these two be duking it out.
Yeah, definitely. It must be pretty painful for Noguchi, having exited the race so now and now having to watch pretty much his worst nightmare, which is the 2 guys that are closest to him on points now fighting it out to take 25 of them. But now I can see we're getting onto the last lap pretty soon. So what will we see here? A rehearsal? Not quite.
Thinking about ghosting a move, though, wasn't he, up the inside there, was Mario Aggi. So perhaps just not trying to play his cards too soon and thinking that, just trying that inside.
Yeah, definitely. I think now he'll probably know, okay, maybe if I don't make a move there, I can't get ahead of Van Aerden by the line, so I have to be ahead before we head to the line. But, you know, obviously it could be interesting that as well, because, like I say, Van Aerden's a little bit smaller and maybe can use that slipstream a little bit more efficiently than Aggi's able to, so that could affect it. But now we're on the final lap. Have to see.
Turn number 4, I should say, as we climb up the elevation of the circuit. Still no moves being made there for Mario Aggi, so it's Van Aerden with the advantage. We're going to see a quick replay here going through the first corner. Is this the two race leaders and a slight moment there, perhaps? Not quite seeing what... And it is indeed, yeah. So that's Mario Aggi with a bit of a wobble going out of turn number 2. So that would have caused him to just be a little bit more tense on board that bike at the moment and just perhaps realise that there isn't as much grip out there maybe as they thought he was. So down in towards turn 7, then in towards turn number 8. It's Van Aerden with the advantage, but going through here and in towards turn 9 is surely where Aggi would like to try and find a way past. Down in towards turn number 9. Again, he's not quite close enough. He just doesn't seem to have an advantage, but he's going to duck down the inside. He's going to go very late on the brakes, and he's going to find his way through against Van Aerden. That's absolutely brilliant from Aggi. Can he hold it into the following right-hander? No, he can't. Van Aerden back in front.
Yeah, super brave from Van Aerden there to sweep straight back around the outside and take that back. So it looks like we're going to definitely get a duel right. Like we said earlier...
Oh, big moment there for Mario Aggi, the Indonesian rider in second place. Could that be all that he's going to have in his locker? Will he be able to try and do something? But a bit of a poor exit out of turn 14 for Bill Van Aerden. Surely that's going to allow Aggi to close up. Both of these guys focusing very, very determined to try and take the win. Aggi going for his first, Van Aerden going for his second. Down the inside at turn 15. He's very late on the brakes. The bike is bucking and weaving underneath him. Mario Aggi takes the lead at the final corner. Does he manage to hold on to the line? Yes, he does. What a race, what a ride. Mario Aggi takes his first win in the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup. A brilliant final lap, an absolutely incredible final corner. Bill Van Aerden, well, I think he's actually a bit disappointed with second place there.
Yeah, definitely. That's an incredible move. As you can see, Aggi seemingly got a better exit most of the time when he had attempted a similar move throughout the race and knew that that was probably going to pay off, and pay off it did. Impressive stuff, and just about keeping it all on the road there. But yeah, Van Aerden obviously pretty disappointed with that, but thumbs up, good sportsmanship. Obviously he knows he's still gained a lot of ground on Noguchi in the lead. Now we'll see who's won this incredible four-way scrap for 10th.
Yeah, it's getting pretty close. I think it was Alberto that managed to get it right at the line. So that's a great job there for Alberto. Very, very impressive performance, and great also for this man here as well. That was the number 5 of Busari. Yep, we saw him there. He was actually inside the top 6, his way into the winner's slots in Parc Ferme for the first time this year. Is this going to be where his title challenge will start to kick on? Time will tell, certainly, but it is a very big day as well in terms of the championship lead. Of course, Haruki Noguchi, the de facto championship leader going into this weekend, a 25-point advantage he had at the start of race 1. Now, at the end of race 1, it's cut down to just 5 points.
It's a race win in your pocket, pretty much. But Noguchi obviously has really needed that today. So that mistake is really, really costly. He's seen all of that hard work, not undone, but obviously now the pressure's right back on, and Van Aerden's super, super close in the title fight. So I think, like you're saying, it should be interesting now what happens with Aggi and if he can really keep this momentum, because he's had some really, really good form as well, and been on the podium more often than not, except for that really expensive DNF in that second race in Buriram. That's really what dented his points total.
Well, into Parc Ferme then comes the number 7 of Mario Aggi. A brilliant performance from the Indonesian rider, just 14 years of age he is. And that was an incredible performance, and he will be absolutely delighted to end up on the box for the first time this season. You can see there the body language from him. You can see the disappointment of the body language of Bill Van Aerden just in the background of your shot there. But those guys, well, quite rightly so, they're all celebrating with one another.